Hello, so it's Jay Peach here down at Garden Gatherings, and I'm here with Christina Hart.
Hello.
How are you doing? You okay?
Very good, thank you.
It was amazing playing for us for BBC Studios in Essex and also Garden Gatherings on the acoustic stage. How did you find it?
It was so fun, honestly. It was my first gig back since the pandemic, so it was just great fun to be out performing again.
Yeah. How has everything been in the last 18 or so months?
It's been good. I've had a lot of time to think. Like, it's nice for once to have an opportunity to stop and think about what you're doing and what you want to do. And so I've been just writing a lot of music and thinking about where I want to take my artist project, which has been nice. Yeah.
Have you ever been to Southend before, the On Sea? What do you think of it?
It's the first time. I love it. Yeah, it's so nice. Yeah, it's nice.
And what's been the hardest thing about the last 18 months for an artist like yourself, going through all of it? I'm sure you've been writing a lot.
Yeah.
Has it been times where you've just had days where you've done nothing and wondered what
100%.
to do?
I think it's hard to pinpoint the hardest thing because there's been just lots of hard things, but I would say there's also lots of positives that have come from it. You know, like getting to work with people you wouldn't have necessarily worked with just because of where they are in the world. And now you get to just get on Zoom and work with these people, so that's cool. But I don't know, the hardest thing I guess is just not seeing people, your family, your friends, your whole support system is online.
Yeah.
Like that's what my song Online Therapy was about. You know, it's about therapy, but also all the support system you've got all of a sudden is online.
Yeah.
And just, it's nice to be with people again, you know, in the flesh.
Of course.
Yeah.
How did you feel nervous doing that set? I can imagine it's been like your first one in a long time.
I was so nervous, but it's great fun as well. Once you get into it, I feel like the first couple songs are always a bit like, you know, the nerves get the better of you. And then once you get into it, you're like, okay, everything is fine, I can do this.
Yeah, and you work a lot with your producer, Lewis, who I think like you guys are dating as well. So you have a very close relationship. What is that working relationship like? Because it's obviously creating good records for yourself.
Yeah, I love it. To be honest, it's so good because when we're in the studio, we can be so honest with each other with what's working, what isn't, and it's just great fun to get to do what you love with the person you love. I just find it's like so nice because I know that a lot of people don't necessarily work with the people they're dating, and it can be a bit awkward, and you don't want business to get in the way. But I think because we've been together 5 years, we know how to separate it. Like we'll have a studio day, but we'll also have like a nice little date day. Yeah.
Well, happy anniversary for the 5 years. I don't know if it was recently or not. I don't know. But that's amazing. You can have that close working relationship. And were you living with each other during the pandemic then, and able to write with each other?
Yeah. So I crashed at his because just my whole flat situation kind of fell apart. So he had to sort of take me in for about. I initially went there for 2 weeks just to isolate there. Before we went into lockdown, just because my mom was calling me from Switzerland telling me, you guys have to be inside, blah blah blah. And I ended up staying there 6 months. So
wow,
it was intense.
So we all just relocated during the pandemic, didn't we?
Basically relocated, But to be honest, like we let each other breathing space, and I think to be honest, the first lockdown I just couldn't bring myself to do any music because I felt just my creativity was so stifled by how
of course.
anxious I was, to be honest.
And we all procrastinate at the best of times, but I think you know we just kind of like, what's going on in the world? What are we doing right now?
Work, and then all of a sudden it hit me like this huge thing is happening, and there's nothing I can do about it. And I remember there was just this one day where I was so anxious, I was crying.
It's so overwhelming, right?
Yeah. It was the same day I got the Help Musicians Fund, so it was very bizarre because I spent the whole morning just being like, this is just too much, I can't do this. And then all of a sudden just this little light came through, and I was like, oh my god, I can still do my music for a little while longer. So
tell me about how difficult that has been as an artist going through all this. We know the arts have really suffered as a result. You know, the support from government and just generally in the economy was really difficult, and people had to make a lot of noise about it. As an artist and getting that support, obviously it's been a lifesaver for you. But at a time it must have felt, you know, really uncertain.
It was absolutely horrible because I didn't actually make a living as a musician before the pandemic, so I was an artist, but I was working as a receptionist. 0-hour contract. And I had all of a sudden 0 hours, so it was so dreadful, honestly. But what's amazing is that fund really enabled me. Like I left the pandemic. We can't really say it's over just yet, but when lockdowns stopped in beginning of this year, I was actually self-employed musician. Which to me is like amazing, and I'm so happy that that's a thing now.
That's amazing. I'm so glad that, you know, it's worked out for you. We've all got through it in our own way, I guess, and muscled through. And you were saying about, you know, we've all been online during this pandemic a lot more. It's been a place where we've all connected, and it's totally changed the way we interact, probably for the future, for the rest of our lives. But it's been such a positive thing for you to get your music out there and share it. And we detect a bit of an accent. You have quite an international...
It's a bit weird.
life and family. So you've been involved. You have influence in Spain and Switzerland and Brazil. What is that like, having all of that kind of international?
I mean, it's really nice, to be honest. I think it's hard in some ways sometimes because during the pandemic I didn't see my family for about 7 or 8 months.
And where are they living?
So they're in Switzerland, but
right.
I've also got family in Spain. I haven't seen them in 2 years.
Wow.
I'm just trying to carve out a weekend to go see them.
Yeah.
I've not seen my cousins and my aunts and uncles in like a couple of years now because I had seen them I think October 2019.
Yeah.
And usually I go once or twice a year if I've got time, but usually once a year.
Yeah.
And I just haven't seen them since, so it's been really hard.
Hopefully very, very soon. I'm sure you're trying to organise something. But just tell us about what's coming next, Christina. Then I'm sure, like, we've all been sitting on so many ideas throughout all of this. I'm sure you're itching and raring to go to release more stuff. What's coming?
Yeah, so what's coming? It's interesting because I just took the time this year. I made a promise to myself that I didn't want to rush my next release.
Yeah.
So I've just been writing and writing and writing. And to be honest, it's only in the past month. So I've been writing lots of songs since January. It's only in the past month that I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do this.
Yeah.
To start, carving out what the next project is going to sound like. And I'm just really excited. But what I'm focusing on is getting that batch of songs, that I'm really, really proud of, that I want to push. And then sort of, I would love to be a live act, to be honest. I think the pandemic has made me realize.
I'm working on that more,
Yeah, and just like having a band and just, having this amazing live sound that people can sing along to, that's my dream. Yeah.
Well, today's the first step, and it went down pretty well from where we were sitting. Best of luck for everything that's coming.
Thank you so much.
If you look down the camera and tell everyone where they can go find you and follow you.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok at I am Christina Hart. No H to Christina and no E to Hart. Thank you so much for
Very important. No worries. Christina Hart down here at the Garden Gatherings.